In the 18th century, one of the greatest writers was Samuel Johnson. One evening, Dr. Johnson was at a gathering where a marvelous musician was playing the piano. At the end of her virtuoso performance, she came up to him and asked, "Dr. Johnson, do you like music?" He said to her frankly, "No, I'm afraid I don't like music, but of all the noises in this world, I think that music is probably the least disagreeable." This man, who had such an appreciation for words, had none at all for something that most of us appreciate very much. All of us appreciate different things, and all of us lack appreciation for some things. We give thanks for the blessings we have been given, but we cannot truly give thanks until we appreciate them for the blessings they are. All of us take so much for granted, and it's almost cliché to say that we don't appreciate things until we don't have them. Most of us here have, if not everything we want, certainly everything we need. But not everyone in the world does. In times of need, it is amazing how much you appreciate the littlest things in life. An elderly lady once told me a story which affected me profoundly. She said, "I was with my family in a concentration camp in communist Yugoslavia. There was very little to eat. One day I found in the garbage a little piece of meat, maybe 1 inch by 1 inch. We hadn't seen meat in months. I was so happy to find that for my family. I pulled it out of the garbage, putting my life in danger, and gathered my family around. There were 6 of us, and we made a big ceremony of it. I cut that little piece of meat into 6 pieces, and we enjoyed it enormously. Since I have been in this country, I have eaten the best steaks in the finest restaurants, but never have I enjoyed a piece of meat as much as I enjoyed that pathetic little morsel on that day." We appreciate things more when we have less. We appreciate things once we have known what it is to do without them. Most of all, we appreciate things even more when we share them with others. I have never been in a situation like that, and probably most of you never have either. But I did experience something a little bit similar when I went to Africa some years ago. I was giving little pieces of candy to the children of the village. These children had never in their lives tasted candy, and they were delighted. I had just given a little boy my last piece, and I had nothing left. Suddenly, his 2 little sisters came and looked up at me with sad, begging eyes. The little boy was enjoying his candy very much. It was the treat of a lifetime. But when he saw his 2 sisters, he took the candy out of his mouth and put it in the mouth of his sister so that she too could enjoy it. She in turn took it out of her mouth and put it in the mouth of her little sister. They continued passing it back and forth, sucking out every bit of sweetness from the tiny piece of candy until there was nothing left. Not one of us here has ever enjoyed a piece of candy like those 3 kids did. That candy was sweeter because it was shared. That candy was sweeter because it was in the mouth of someone who had never tasted sweetness. Because it was new, they appreciated it like no one I had ever seen. But in all fairness, I must say that none of them, neither the children nor the adults, appreciated the majestic beauty of their own surroundings as I did. because that was new to me. As they enjoyed the sweetness of my candy, I enjoyed the magnificence of their land. We take things for granted. Sometimes it takes someone from the outside to come and show us what we have always had. One such prophet from the outside is the Dalai Lama, who is able to point out to us all we have and do not appreciate. You in the West have much bigger homes, he says, but much smaller families. You have endless conveniences, and yet you never seem to have time. You have the opportunity to travel anywhere in the world, and yet you don't cross the road to meet your neighbors. Sometimes we have precious moments with people in our lives, moments that go by unnoticed until it's too late. How many times have I spent a moment with someone not knowing until later that that was the last time we would ever see each other? Had I known that, I would have savored every second of that meeting. We don't appreciate things or people until we don't have them. I invite everyone to do a little exercise to appreciate every moment of this day. When you turn on the water today, think of where that water comes from and how many miles those few drops have traveled in order to reach your glass. When you see a flower in bloom, stop to smell it. Stop to look at the gorgeous detail of every small petal. When you eat a piece of fruit, stop to think of the time it took for it to ripen on the tree, of the hands it took to pick it, to prepare it, and all the hands it went through until it reached your mouth. When you are out in the cold, appreciate the ray of sunshine that gives you the warmth you need. When a drop of rain comes down, when the wind blows, when all these things come your way, stop and appreciate. Take those little moments, those sweet pieces of candy God sends our way, and suck every bit of sweetness out of every single moment. Like those kids in Africa, appreciate them fully by sharing them with one another, by taking that candy out of your mouth and placing it into the mouth of somebody else. Please don't give me your candy. We appreciate the most when we share the gifts we have received. Today we give thanks, but before we can do that, we must stop to savor the moment. Don't let another moment go by that you don't fully appreciate. Don't let another moment go by without sucking its sweetness and passing it on to another. May we all learn to savor, to treasure, to fully appreciate every gift of God. And then we will give thanks with all our heart.